2 Timothy 2:15, study to show yourself approved. So what happens when you get hit with a theological tsunami? Next on the Metal Pulpit. Thanks for joining me for another Metal Pulpit. And you know, that's the question I'm posing today, is simply what happens when a person is bombarded by a theological tsunami. Now, you may have never heard it put that way, but anytime, at any point, a Christian, whether they're a Christian for a year or a Christian for many years. For me, I was born and raised in the church. I'm 44 years old, got saved when I was 9 years old, been in it a long time. But there comes a point where we get hit by something. Maybe it's a book we read. Maybe it's a life event that comes our way, broadsides us, and takes the scripture that we hold near and dear and blows the bottom out from under it. And now we're left wondering, what do I believe about this? This happened quite a few years ago with the book by Rob Bell, Love Wins. It just caused a lot of people to start questioning things. This happened when A.W. Tozer wrote The Pursuit of God. It caused a lot of people to question things. Let me share with you a personal story. In the last few weeks of my mom's life, she would over and over again tell me from her bed in the rehab unit saying, why doesn't God heal me? See, she was only 75. She did have some congestive heart failure. There were some things that dietary-wise she didn't take care of herself, but she had also a very hard bone spur on her spine that was driving her absolutely crazy. And what she kept telling me over and over again is, Scripture says in Isaiah 53:5, by his stripes we are healed. Why isn't God healing me right now? What do you say to somebody like that? Let me tell you where she came from. My upbringing, her upbringing, it's one of those stories where my grandma was a founding member of the church. She raised my mom in that church. My mom and dad raised us in that church. And because of the Pentecostal roots in that church, which I really don't have a whole lot negative to say about my upbringing, I actually loved it. But she held on to this notion that Isaiah 53:5 meant a physical healing, like what she was dealing with. And I tried to convince her, saying, Mom, that is not what that scripture is about. I came to question it, and before I did this podcast, I started questioning with the other fellow podcasters, Pastor Scott Heron, Chris Dorman, Don Waite, Pastor Bob Meeman. I kicked it out there. I'm like, am I off on this? And here's the thing that I've come to learn. Well, long story short, my mom held on to that till her dying day. And see, what can happen is when we take scripture and we hold it so near and dear and we don't necessarily dig deeper, we may get the wrong interpretation of that scripture. Here's the thing that's central to Christianity. Ready for this? Questioning. Questioning. Some of you watching, maybe a teenager, that your parents are solid Christians and you're a Christian and you're being raised and you're just riding on what they believe. You will come to a point where you're going to question it. Some of you are in your 20s, 30s, 40s. You're going to start questioning things. Science has proved that critical thinking in a person doesn't start happening until they're about 21 years old. And for some reason, we feel guilty when we start quoting the Bible. This is not a bad thing. Even if you have a solid walk with Christ, it's okay to question things. We are in good company in Scripture where people over and over again, God asked them to do something. Moses, burning bush, everything. And what did Moses do? What did he say when God said, lead my children out of Egypt? Yeah, I'll do it right away, Lord, fine. No, it was a burning bush in front of him, and he had questions for him. You see, questioning brings growth. There might be the select few that are watching this and saying, oh, I just don't believe it. I can't question. You know, how dare a pastor teach us to question things? Well, maybe you've never faced something heavy and hard-hitting in your life yet. But I promise you, I promise everybody on here, there will come a point in our life at some point, where we will be broadsided by something, a life event, a book we read, conversation over a cup of coffee that will shake the foundation of what we have learned to see if we really know what we believe. That's where we get the scripture, study to show yourself approved. I'm solid on a lot of doctrines. I'm solid on a lot of biblical principles, but I got to tell you, when it came down to the healing thing, I was shaken. I was kicking it around quite a bit, you know. Was it a situation where I'd leave my walk with Christ? No, that's a non-negotiable, okay? But some of the things I believe or believed about healing, miraculous healing, I've been in a room where God brought somebody back from the dead. I was in an intensive care unit and I've seen it happen. But these are the things that shake us. It's okay. It's okay to be shaken. It's okay to question Scripture. It's okay to question God, as long as there is growth from it. Shoot me your thoughts, your questions. PastorBobAdams@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great day.